This for Debbie and me is our travel segment, and it's going to refer to travel that we just did. We just got back from a trip to, Nashville and Chattanooga. And we also want to talk briefly about our upcoming trip toward the end of this year to Israel. But let's begin with the trip we took. Now, I was speaking in Chattanooga. Mm-hmm. And I've got to say, germaphobe that you are. You accompany me on the trip, but she skips the event. She's like, I will be going with you, but I will not be attending. So, but what's cool, it is fun. It's so much more fun to travel with you than to go alone.
Exactly. So we went to Nashville first. We rented a car.
Well, here's the thing. We couldn't fly directly to Chattanooga. So in today, flights are still a little unreliable. So we don't like to do the connection. So we said, let's fly to Nashville, the nearest place to fly direct. And then we'll drive, 2-hour drive from Nashville to Chattanooga. But we spent... we arrived, we stayed overnight in Nashville, and the next day we went to Chattanooga. And you noticed some stark differences.
Oh, well, when we went to Nashville, first of all...
Nashville does have beautiful things.
Nashville is great. Yeah, it's wonderful.
The Opry.
We literally, we always go get our coffee, so we walked, to get our coffee. And we noticed that there were a lot of homeless people everywhere, scattered about, especially at a church, the Methodist church there. They were like camped out. I mean, it was
just such a repulsive sight. Now, I'm sure there's going to be some Methodists, Dinesh, what would Jesus do? Yeah. And so on. But, honestly, I don't think Jesus would like the idea of scaring people away from coming to a church. In fact, this is a little bit like the money changers in the temple, where you've got these guys, they're completely entitled. They're sleeping on the front step of the church. And so I'm sure deterring people from going to the church because the church is no longer a safe place to go to.
So when we saw this, and I also noticed that it was a bit filthy. It wasn't really super clean.
Everywhere.
And everywhere, right? And we even tried the famous barbecue, which I have to say as a Texan, sorry guys.
Are you saying that Tennessee barbecue can't?
No. But besides that, I when we went back to the hotel, I told Dinesh, I go, what do you want to bet that Nashville is run by Democrats? And he was like, what do you mean? I go, well, think about it. It's dirty. There's homeless people everywhere. It's probably run by Democrats. So I Googled it. Sure enough, it is. But
there's a silver lining.
There's a silver lining because they said today in Nashville, 9 Republicans run for a seat redistricted out of Democrats. So basically, the Jim Cooper, who was the congressman for their district, the 5th congressional district, is not running because he says he has no chance.
So the Republicans who run the state have redrawn the maps, and instead of Nashville being one district, they've carved it into 3 districts in which Republicans are now likely to win all 3.
Yes.
So good work by the Tennessee GOP.
So I think that in about a year or so, when we go back to Nashville to visit, I bet it will be a lot cleaner. And
the proof of this is that we jump in the car, we drive 2 hours, and we're pulling into Chattanooga. Now, basically, Chattanooga, I must say, beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
There's
clean,
a beautiful lake.
Not a single homeless person in sight. Super clean. I'm like, yeah, I know why.
You see a large overarching bridge, and Debbie goes, tell me what you do not see. And what you do not see is a single guy in a tent or with dirty clothes thrown everywhere, sleeping under the bridge.
So really, all this is another thing that a congressional or even senatorial candidate can talk about, a GOP candidate can talk about, and that is, if you want to stay away from social issues, all you have to say is, okay, do you want to live in filthy America or do you want to live in clean America? If you want to live in filthy America, vote Democrat. If you want to live in clean America, vote Republican.
And it's not just clean. I mean, the point about it is that when you deal with the homeless problem, that it goes with vagrancy, it goes with harassment, it goes with crime. Yes. I mean, many of these homeless guys start with petty crime. They'll, take your chicken wing off your plate when you're eating in a restaurant. Mm-hmm. But if you let them get away with that, pretty soon they're going to be assaulting people.
And they do. And these socialist people, I mean, even in socialist countries, they take over. So it's again, it's a really great way to win, really, an election.
Now, pivoting to our trip in Israel, we're going at the end of November.
Yeah, I'm excited about that to see.
Yeah, I just read in the Jerusalem Post, I'm now going to read the title. A group of archaeologists believe they have found the site of the home of St. Peter in the remains of an ancient church on the northeast shore of the Kinneret. It might be the birthplace of three of Jesus's apostles, Peter, Andrew, and Philip. Wow.
Nice.
So,
Wow.
It's wonderful to see how modern archaeology, and by the way, some of this is archaeology by Christian archaeologists, but a lot of it is not. You've got top-notch Israeli archaeologists, obviously Jewish, and you've got archaeologists from other parts of the world who collaborate together. So this is not a kind of religious enterprise. It is the discipline of archaeology coming up with information that thrillingly confirms ancient statements and descriptions, and in some case prophecies in the Bible. And so it's fun for us to be able to be
finally able to see this for ourselves.
And you're welcome to join us. There are some seats available. Standwithisraeltour.com. Standwithisraeltour.com is the way. And the trip begins the very end of November. I believe it ends on December 9th.